From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Monday, November the 14th, 2022. Israel's President Isaac Herzog yesterday bestowed the mandate of forming the next government of the State of Israel to former Prime Minister, opposition leader, and head of the Likud party, Benjamin Netanyahu, at the president's residence in Jerusalem. Herzog said, "From the consultations I held, the following picture arises. 64 members of Knesset recommended Netanyahu, 28 recommended Yair Lapid, and 28 members of Knesset chose not to recommend any member of Knesset for the role of forming a government." Herzog said the result was clear and the task of forming a government must be assigned to Benjamin Netanyahu. He wrote, "I wish him great success. His success is our success." Netanyahu, upon receiving the mandate, said, "We will do everything so that with God's help, it will be a stable and successful government, a responsible and dedicated government which will work for the benefit of all the residents of the country without exception. I intend to be the prime minister of all," Netanyahu said, "of those who elected me and of those who did not elect me. We are brothers and we are meant to live side by side." Netanyahu, meanwhile, continued today to hold coalition talks in the forming of the new government. The United Nations General Assembly's Fourth Committee on Friday voted in favor of seeking an advisory opinion from the International Court of Justice, the ICJ, in The Hague, on Israel's quote-unquote occupation of Palestinian territories and the status of Jerusalem. The resolution passed 98 in favor, 17 against, with 52 abstentions. Israeli Prime Minister Yair Lapid firmly rejected the resolution, calling it another unilateral Palestinian move which undermines the basic principles for resolving the conflict and may harm any possibility for a future process. Lapid said the path to resolving the conflict does not pass through the halls of the UN or other international bodies, calling on those who supported the proposal to reconsider and oppose it when it's voted upon in the General Assembly plenary, likely next month, which has to happen before it can go to The Hague. The Conference of Presidents of major American Jewish organizations condemned the resolution as well, saying it grossly distorts reality and unfairly demonizes Israel as it seeks to weaponize the court. U.S. Public Delegate to the UNGA, Andrew Weinstein, reaffirmed the U.S. position at the UN, saying that a lasting and just two-state solution can only be achieved through direct negotiations between the parties. He told the gathering Friday the Biden administration opposes all resolutions that are one-sided and hold Israel to a standard not expected of other countries. The failure in these resolutions to acknowledge the shared history of the Haram al-Sharif Temple Mount, a site sacred to both Jews and Muslims, is perhaps the clearest demonstration that they are intended only to denigrate Israel, not to help achieve peace. The resolution only refers to the Temple Mount by its Muslim name, Haram al-Sharif, seemingly ignoring any Jewish ties to the holy site. Police in Bethesda, Maryland, are investigating anti-Semitic graffiti found along the Bethesda trolley trail for the second time in just over 3 months, and more hateful messages found at another nearby location. The graffiti found today includes the words "No mercy for Jews," with images of people hanging from nooses. The American Jewish Committee wrote, "The Jewish community will not be intimidated by these despicable messages of hate. Our Washington, D.C. office is in touch with local officials and tracking the situation." County Executive Mark Elrick wrote, "We must support and uplift our Jewish community during this time, and we must continue to not tolerate hate in any form in Montgomery County, the state of Maryland, and in this nation." Well over 200 religious, academic, and political leaders from the Reform movement gathered in Jerusalem yesterday to dedicate a new plaza at Hebrew Union College Jewish Institute of Religion's Taub Family Campus in the capital, designed by world-renowned architect Moshe Safdie. President Herzog addressed the gathering with a video message speaking of the value of the reform movement in Israel, saying it is our duty to know the family of the Jewish people in all its streams and different communities. HUC-JIR President Andrew Rayfeld said of the new plaza, "Our goal is to inspire and engage Israelis and visitors from around the world with tradition and innovation, continuity and creativity, diversity, human rights, and social engagement." The Taub Family Campus, he said, stands as a living symbol of our abiding devotion to this nation. Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Monday, November the 14th at 7 o'clock. Dan Glickman talks about his book, Laughing at Myself, My Education in Congress, on the Farm, and at the Movies. At 7:30, Jane Ziegelman discusses the habits of immigrants living in the Lower East Side tenements in the early part of the 20th century. At 8 o'clock on In the Spotlight tonight, as the beloved production of Fiddler on the Roof in Yiddish returns to New York City for a limited run, Abigail Pogrebin is joined by the actor playing Tevye, Stephen Skybell, and artistic director of the National Yiddish Theater, Folksbiene, Zalman Malotek. At 9, Mark Golub sits down with the Tony Award-winning lyricist of Fiddler on the Roof, Sheldon Harnick. At 10, Barefoot Contessa Ina Garten speaks at the 92nd Street Y. And coming up next, Shahar Azani talks to Sarit Zehavi on location in Israel about its recent maritime agreement with Lebanon, as well as overall challenges for Israel up north with Iran and Hezbollah. And that's the JBS News Update for Monday, November the 14th, 2022. I'm Teisha Bader. Stay healthy, stay well.